What's poppin', everybody? It's Marco Alexander here, international pop artist. I'm here at AyeLook Studios. Make sure you check out the interview coming up now. My parents are musicians. My grandmothers were musicians, so I didn't really have a choice. Like, music was innate, it was in me. It was all about execution with me, though. So I was brought up in a gospel world, and they were telling me, you gotta do something, you gotta play an instrument, you gotta sing, you can't represent us playing sports or whatever it's gonna be, so you gotta play an instrument, pick something. Started on piano, quickly went to violin. Violin changed to bass because I hit a growth spurt. And then I found that I could sing. And so it just turned into this, you know what I'm saying? My inspiration and my motivation are my grandmothers and my parents, because they're still musicians, my whole family. Wondering why she's so emotional. My biggest accomplishment, there's a lot of them, man. I mean, I played Carnegie Hall my senior year of high school at Craigmont High School. Carnegie Hall is a big thing for classical musicians, for anybody. I'm the first principal African-American double bassist for the Jackson Symphony Orchestra. That's a huge accomplishment. My EP that I've completed is a huge accomplishment. And just performing on like numerous TV channels. I think all of that is just stuff I never thought I would be able to do. And just doing it and raising the bar every single day. I think that's an accomplishment in itself. Almost. So yeah, working with people that you never thought you'd work with, writing for mainstream artists that you never thought you'd work with, like that's an accomplishment. So it's a lot of them. I've been playing bass for probably about 26 years now. Started off on a half-size bass that looks like a cello. Quickly moved to a full size when I hit the growth spurt, and now, I mean, you know, I'm on a custom size bass because I'm so tall. But yeah, playing bass, it's about 26 years. Singing professionally now, about 7-8 years as a recording artist. But like just being in the general public, getting paid to sing, about 12 years now, so yeah. Alright, so first of all, the shirt is my line, Sound Culture. All of this is hand painted. For me, it started off as my design. You'll see the design on the Friction EP. On the back of the Friction EP, it quickly turned into a line. So you got culture, and then most of the time they'll have like Africa on the front or something like that. The jeans are definitely Nous Sommes Derrière, which is a clothing line that I'm sponsored by right now. And the shoes are ASOS. So yeah, simple but effective. Yeah. I definitely think that music has changed in the physical aspect when it comes to being lazy. I think a lot of artists are extremely lazy when it comes to adding strings, adding horns. Everything is digital now, you know what I mean? So we can go and we can add melody to somebody's voice, so they don't have to be able to sing well, you know what I'm saying? But that puts the real singers like us out somewhere, and we just compete, and people have to sift through who's real and who's not. Like it's sort of a downfall, but at the same time, I think we did take a step forward, because the electronic artists that are murdering right now, Imogen Heap, like, she's killing the game, because I don't know if you know her, but her name is Imogen Heap, and she does a lot of soundtracks, all of that. But what she does is she sends her voice through a digital vocal coder, and she'll sing one note, and it'll come out like a digital choir. So it's crazy what she does. If we're talking about that, that's cool. When we talk about this other side where people just getting lazy and you give them a beat and you get a little 2 notes on piano and we release a single, nah man, we gotta stop. At some point we gotta stop. So, nah. Within the next 5 years, definitely within the first year, my debut album is gonna be released, which is great. In the next 5 years, I wanna release 2 more albums, EPs, albums, whichever one you want to call them, and at least finish albums on other artists myself, because I'm working with other artists now. My biggest thing is score writing, writing for films, producing soundtracks. I'm a huge fan of like Pharrell, Phil Collins, Sting, all these people that currently do, Hans Zimmer, that currently do major films. So sitting down and watching movies and putting music to that, that kind of evokes emotion. If If you take me to the movies, I'm probably not gonna be watching a movie. I'm probably gonna be listening to the soundtrack to see if it matches the wax scene that we're watching. But that's definitely what I do. It's an orchestral version and there's the vocal version. So you put it together. It's just music in general. That's who I am. My biggest advice for an upcoming artist is individuality. In high school, I would say that I was probably labeled as weird. I was in the orchestra. I wasn't trying to go to games. I barely wanted to go to prom. I was prom king though. But you know what I'm saying? I wasn't that dude that was always stylish in high school because I wore what I wanted to wear. But individuality, like if you can bring something to the table that nobody else around you can, that's who the labels want to work with. That's who the production companies want to work with. That's where the endorsements come from. That's when you get to hire whoever you want to hire. And most of the time they just want to do it off the whim just because you are who you are. Andre 3 Stacks, I mean, look at him. Like that's the primary example of individuality. This man got talked about until people started hearing him spit. And it was like, yo, alright, we like your style now. We want to dress like you. But before it was weird. So what happened? You know what I'm saying? So everything's a trend. If you just show people who you are, then you can build trends. You can set the trend. And everybody else is gonna follow. So just find who you are. Don't try to follow anybody else. Okay, so keep in mind that I do a lot of things as an artist. An average day just sitting at home for me is waking up, first practicing my bass, then warming up my voice and learning whatever song I gotta perform that week. Most of the time I have to perform once every day now. I may have a rehearsal with my dancers, my band, and then I gotta go to the studio, Sound Culture Studio, to oversee painters who are painting for me or with me if we're working on a big project, making sure that stuff's getting done, making sure the business aspect is getting done. So making sure I own all my stuff, that's another thing, ownership. Then when you get home at nighttime, realizing that nighttime is not technically a time to go to sleep. Like we rarely sleep around here, so I guess you can say what a typical 3 days looks like for me, you know what I'm saying? And you get up the next morning, you do the same thing over and over again until people start noticing you. A day in the studio, a day in the Sound Culture Studio, a day in rehearsal, it all looks very, very different. It depends on the day, but the grind looks the same, you know? Execution is very important. That's what I strive for every day. So that's a day-to-day thing for me, execution. Execute no matter what. I've definitely studied Michael Jackson every day, all day. We'll watch interviews, watch how he responds to negativity when stuff is coming at him. Watch how he can take that and let it all go when he walks out on stage. His production process, all of that. Phil Collins is somebody I study. Again, that's that big soundtrack thing. How he can separate his pop music and what he can put into movies. So what songs off your album can make it into a movie? You know what I'm saying? That's important to know. Not every song is movie-esque. Who else? Prince. Study Prince. Study Little Richard. And these are all people, remember, that have a very individual like mindset. They were seen as weird, but you know what I'm saying? They made it. They're legends. Bruno Mars, study him. Most recently, Stevie Wonder, just the way that he executes some of these chordal changes. Donny Hathaway, ending on a half cadence. Like, who does stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? We always resolve the chord. Donny Hathaway would always leave the chord unresolved and make you wanting for more. So learning that vibrato can pull at a listener's heartstrings rather than just using vibrato and always sound like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So just studying vocal techniques, execution, dancing while singing, all that type of stuff. So yeah, those are some of the people I listen to and study to this day. Jackie Wilson, Frankie Lyman, old school people. Man. I'm very specific. My exclusivity level is very high right now because I have to keep myself separate from the general public a lot. But I do have two students. One is 8 years old and the other one is 17 years old. We're working on the 17-year-old album right now. I'm executive producing a lot of his stuff. and the 8-year-old is a musical prodigy, so he wants to do musicals. So we're getting him ready for auditions and, you know, getting him ready for dance stuff. He's not a dancer, so it's a struggle, but yeah, we're just working on the musical aspect. I'm only having 2 students right now. It may expand, but as of right now, I need to work on the album, all my brands and stuff like that. So probably January 2020, I'll take on more kids, young adults. It doesn't matter if you're a young artist. But I'm always down to mentor though, so teaching and mentoring are 2 different things. If you got questions, I'll answer them. You know, hit me up on Instagram or something. I'll do my best to answer if I can. So you can definitely, first and foremost, my website, www.marcoalexander.com. You can find literally everything on there. We're actually rebranding right now, just the face of the website. Instagram, Marco Alexander Official. Twitter, Marco A Official. Facebook, www.facebook.com/TheRealMarcoA, or just type in Marco Alexander. I'm pretty sure you'll find me. Or SoundCloud and YouTube, I am Marco A. SoundCloud, we have exclusive releases, but that'll all be moved to the website, so MarcoAlexander.com is the best way. Okay, at first, it would be the 2 singles, which is Gone and Follow Your Heart. Now, as you know, most artists, we get sick of hearing our own music. So it'll definitely be like Worldwide. Worldwide is like the intro track to my EP, and the intro track to me being an artist is basically just putting people on notice that I'm coming, I'm here, I'm no longer just writing for people. And it has like string arrangements that I did, vocal arrangements, all that type of stuff that I did myself. So Worldwide is definitely one, and then Feel Favorite is the other one. Feel Favorite is basically the guy version of the drama between a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time you hear about the girls complaining and saying blase blase. But Feel Favorite is a song that it goes through the motions of a guy trying to make his girl feel favorite, you know, feel like she's needed, when she feels like she's not. No matter what you try to do, she's always blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So it's either you can leave or you can stay. But if you're gonna stay, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna communicate. You know what I'm saying? So it's another angle at that dynamic. So Feel Favorite and Worldwide, off the Friction EP.